This whole thing technically started years ago, but feel context is needed. About 10 years ago when I, 36 now, married my wife, 35, we wanted to start our family right away. Life didn't really pan out. It was actually a mix between both my partner and I have fertility issues. My family tried to convince me to break up with my wife because, and I quote, "she can't carry our family name," even though I told them it was also in part my personal infertility issue, but they just blamed my wife. To give context to that, I'm the only male born in my generation, so was the only one that got married and passed my family name down. My family is very traditionalist to say the least. I had cut them out of my life due to this. Onto the now situation, after a lot of heartaches and going through different approaches including IVF and every other treatment that were available to us. We are now parents to 2 beautiful baby boys, a set of twins, wasn't expecting that, but a welcome surprise to say the least. We also have an adopted daughter, who is now 13, my family didn't want anything to do with her, and such another reason why we went full no contact. Somehow, my family caught wind of this, they now want to be a part of my and my children's lives. I won't let them. My dad claims they have rights as the grandparents, and it's not okay for me to not let them see the babies, to see the next generation of our family, even though they have other grandkids from my sisters. I told him outright that the kids don't even have his surname, they have my wife's surname. Yes, this was done purely out of spite, and that even I changed my name, and we took on my wife's name after everything that went down 10 years ago. As you can imagine, crap blew up. I'm being called a monster, loser, petty, weirdo, traitor, idiot, every name in the book really, blocking every number and user on SM as they come in, but my family is going hard at it. My wife is standing by my choice, as they had said some awful things to her to try to get her to willingly leave me. But I just want to know, from you unbiased people here, am I the idiot? Not the idiot. They are demonstrating to you exactly why they should not be part of your family. They don't earn a place in your family again by disparaging you and behaving poorly. If you let them back in, they would make it very clear to your children that only the twin boys are actually part of the family and that your daughter is not. You are doing the right thing protecting your family from your family. You should be held as the model of how to stand up for yourself, wife, and family. Family members often feel entitled to say or do things. You gave them opportunities to be a part of your life. They were total idiots. You set boundaries and maintained them. This is where a lot of people lose ground by giving in. They've been toxic, you've seen it, and you've taken action to protect your family. Good for you. So many people don't do this as it causes issues in most facets of their lives. Block them on SM, make your profiles private. Ignore them, don't engage if someone makes it through. Enjoy your sweet family, you sound like an amazing partner and your in-laws are lucky to have you. Not the idiot, and I get why you went NC in the first place. You and your lovely family are way better off without them. And congrats on the baby twins, how fun. Also, I love that you took your wife's name, even if it's out of spite, that's just great. Bet they had a whole herd of cows when they found that out. Definitely make sure to record everything, harassment, texts, phone calls if you can, just in case. I saw a couple people mention checking the grandparents' rights laws in your state, definitely a good idea there. If the harassment continues you may need to get restraining orders. I, 25, found out I was pregnant about 3 weeks ago. We decided to wait until we told. Our friends are like our family. We share everything with each other, right when they happen, so this was not typical behavior. 2 friends in the group are Sandra, 28, and her husband Sam. Sandra can't biologically have children. They found out about it a month ago, hence why I waited to announce the pregnancy. Both of them were sad about it. Sam and I grew up together, so I know how much he wanted kids. Both my husband and I knew we had to tell our friends. I already had started to show symptoms, and I don't want them to feel like I kept this from them. We are very close. All of us have been friends since forever. Most of us have, not so great family too, so we're each other's chosen family. We wanted to share this happy moment with them. We called everyone over to our house. Everyone already knew something great happened because I always make cookies when I good news. I told them, yeah, something great has happened and that I was pregnant. I told them that I found out a month ago as a response to someone who asked. Kelsey, another friend, told me she was hurt we didn't tell them immediately like she did when she was pregnant. Everyone was happy for us, or so I thought. I felt so much relief after telling them. Sam gave me a hug and I could see he was happy sad, and I told him that I actually wanted him to be the godfather of our baby. He just kept hugging me and I started crying out of happiness. I didn't notice until Kelsey's husband pointed out, but Sandra was no longer sitting on the couch. I went to the kitchen to check on her and she was crying. I told her I'm sorry if this was difficult considering her news and asked her if she needed anything at all. She didn't say anything, just went to the living room. I followed her and she just turned around and said, "You're an idiot." I was shocked and I guess said what and laughed. She said I was so insensitive and that I purposefully got pregnant. She was sobbing and I just didn't know what to do. My friends comforted her, while Sam and my husband checked on me. Later it was just Sandra, Sam, my husband and me, because my husband said whatever this was we had to talk about it since we were family. Sandra said it was a jerk move to announce my pregnancy just 3 weeks after she found out she couldn't have kids and that there was nothing to talk about. She left and Sam stayed back to apologize. This happened a week ago, no one has heard from Sandra. I can't sleep, I feel so guilty. Everyone insists I'm not the idiot, but they might be biased, because who tells a pregnant woman they're an idiot, right? So I'm hoping you guys will tell me the truth, because if I'm in the wrong I need to apologize. Soft, you are the idiot. If you are as close to Sam and Sandra as you say you are, I think you should have realized that this may be something to share with them privately beforehand, so they could either be prepared or choose not to be there if they weren't sure of their reactions. They only found out a month ago, and it's pretty common knowledge that friends and family announcing pregnancies can be very difficult for people facing infertility. I also think, well, it's somewhat irrational. Sandra may have been triggered by you immediately asking Sam to be godfather. She will never get to tell him he will be a father and may have felt usurped at that moment. Sandra is hurt and still grieving, and you just happen to be an unfortunate target for it. A similar thing happened to some mere friends of mine. 2 of them got pregnant at the same time, one lost her baby minutes after he was born, the other is still happy and healthy. In her grief, the mother was angry with her friend for having a happy healthy child when she couldn't. It's ugly, it's tragic. It's hard, and it's not fair, but you already took her into consideration and cared for her. If you want, you can say you're sorry you talked about it while she was still grieving and that you didn't talk to her in private where the news might have been less of a shock, but stand firm. You held off because of her already, you cared, and you didn't do this to hurt her. I probably would have told Sandra privately instead of announcing it at a party, but I mean, you can't not be pregnant because other people aren't, the cat will be out of the bag sooner or later. No idiots here, because she is hurting and grieving, but you both could have been a little more thoughtful with each other. My husband, Alden 27, and I, 26, are both RNs here in Canada. Both of us send money to our respective families in our home country, that is why we have 3 separate bank accounts, his, mine, and ours, for bills and mortgage. I send my parents 8% of my salary every fortnight, while Alden sends 10-12% of his, as he helps pay for his brother's college tuition fee. I gave birth to our first child January of this year and I had just gone back to work last July. Yesterday I told my husband that we need to start saving for our son's college education. I told him we should open a registered education savings plan and start contributing towards it. I proposed we start with $100 fortnight each. Alden said that RESP is a great idea, but I have to pay towards it in the first 3 years alone because his brother still has 2 years left in college. He reminded me that he can't reduce the money he sends to his parents until his brother graduates, passes the licensure exam and finds a job. I said, I understand his family's circumstances and that $20-50 a fortnight is fine with me. He said he can't afford it and that I need to stop pressuring him. I said that is not what I'm doing and suggested we can cut some of our expenses like dining out, Netflix subscription and Xbox Live Gold subscription. He then became more irate and accused me of taking away his stress reliever. I was so angry at him, I almost threw my phone to his face. I walked out and left him in the lounge. I guess he was also angry with me because he slept on the couch last night. We are still not talking now, and I'm starting to think I may have overreacted. My friend said I am an idiot for the way I handled the situation and I should have been more understanding. Am I the idiot? I imagine that he sends a lot more than $100 to cover his brother's college experiences. He says it's not in the budget right now for him. So maybe when his brother graduates, he can just start putting what used to give the brother to the fund for your son. And by the way, you're not the idiot. Your husband could have tried to reach a compromise with you rather than flipping out on you. Not the idiot. Your child comes first. I don't know how much Spock's Live Gold costs, but is there a silver option? And how does a parent of an infant have time to work and play enough video games to warrant a subscription? Shouldn't he be doing housework, cooking, so you don't have to order takeout, and caring for the baby? I'm puzzled as to why his brother gets to focus solely on schooling, but it sounds like your own child may not get that same opportunity because your husband refuses to start saving for that now. Compounding interest is powerful. The more you can save now, the better off you will be. And if you have more children, this will become even harder. You're the idiot. An education account is a good idea, but you don't get to demand that your husband contribute X amount starting immediately. He has already made a commitment to contribute to his parents and brother, and it's reasonable to keep that commitment as a priority. You have established a yours, mine, and ours financial arrangement in your marriage, which means you don't get the final say over his money. My husband's brother has a 7-year-old son was diagnosed sensory processing disorder. It affects the tastes he can tolerate and the texture of things he can touch or eat. He has a pretty basic diet consisting of some cheeses, noodles, chicken, grapes, baked beans and roasted potatoes. I also have sensory issues that were only diagnosed when I was 13. My issue is taste and smell. Perfumes, body sprays, cooking, etc. all set me off, and so does food. My diet improved when my parents learned how to make more basic dishes for me that still could be altered slightly for everyone else. Plain chicken and rice, plain noodles and rice, fruits, yogurts, regular pizza, roast and baked potatoes, oatmeal, smoothies. The smoothies is how I get some veg into my diet. It's come on a lot from when I was young and only ate yogurts. My nephew and I have a special bond because we get each other. My brother-in-law hates it. He blames me for giving nephew SPD. He said if I wasn't so damn picky and such a baby his son would be fine. This despite the fact he has seen me puke when I walk into a room with a strong smell. He also hates that I have been able to help nephew with some of the sensory issues the way my parents helped me. My husband and I have him some Fridays and Saturdays and his mom, brother-in-law's wife, loves that he has me, but brother-in-law blamed me. I told brother-in-law he couldn't blame me for his son's sensory issues, that it cannot be controlled or prevented, and he needs to focus more on being a good parent to his kid than assigning blame. He blew up and told me I did not get to speak to him that way when it's his fault. My husband got home right as he said that, and my husband kicked him out. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Some in-laws are just idiots. In saying that, some parents don't cope very well when their child isn't normal. It sounds like brother-in-law is one of them. Until brother-in-law lets go of the child he won't have and embraces the child he's been blessed with, he will always be a little toxic. Also, it's very uncommon to meet someone who shares a similar diagnosis, so you and the nephew finding each other will only add value to your lives. Not the idiot for telling brother-in-law that his kid's sensory issues has nothing to do with you. Do you have a good rapport with the mother? If so, she should know that her husband is being an idiot. Well, I think you can say it better. It's possible that she doesn't know and think her husband is supportive, but being obviously upset and resentful about his son's diagnosis and blaming other people instead of rolling up his sleeves and learning about SPD and asking you for advice or sounding bored because you live it. I think it's amazing that you have a great relationship with your nephew. He will trust you and have at least someone in the family that can understand what it's truly like. Your brother-in-law is coming from a place of frustration at his son's disorder and needs for more comprehensive care. Well, the frustration is understandable. A. When you sign up for parenthood you sign up for a child and the child's problems, and B. He is misdirecting that frustration at you, probably because he also feels inadequate in some fashion. He knows, or should, you didn't give his son anything. Neurodivergency isn't contagious. This is a manifestation of him not feeling able to control this aspect of his life. Note, I don't mean control in a bad connotation. He likely just doesn't know how to handle this and isn't coping well with what he doesn't completely understand. He'd probably benefit from therapy. His issue isn't with you or even with his son and his son's SPD, it's with the difficulty of the situation. My husband's older brother is married to Bree. Bree and I got along really well when we first met and grew close. I'm an only child and it was nice having someone who tried to have a sisterly relationship with me. In 2018 I was pregnant with my daughter Grace, and life was good. Then I suffered a placental abruption that took the life of my baby girl and left me with fertility issues as well as a risk if I do get pregnant again. The loss of my daughter broke me and I am still in a state of disbelief. I always wanted to be a mom and I feel like that was taken from me. I never got to hold my baby girl while she was alive, I never got to hear her cry, see her eyes or anything, and even though we have tried for another baby, we are aware it could cause health issues for me. I am still willing to try, but it's hard. My husband doesn't know what's best. Before I lost Grace I used to make baby clothes and blankets as a side business. It did really well because a lot of local people liked that I could personalize however they wanted. After Grace, I don't do it anymore. I can't. My husband's sister-in-law is almost ready to pop with her and my brother-in-law's first child, and she asked me if I would make her and the baby some clothes and blankets. I told her I wasn't doing that anymore, but we had bought stuff. She asked me to do it for her and my niece, and I told her as much as I love her I can't. She told me she understood, but then a few days later told me she thinks I should still do it out of love for her and a way to show I am healing and working on living my life again instead of letting our loss change it. I told her my life will always be different. I will always carry Grace's loss with me. And making her clothes is not a step I am ready to take. She and my brother-in-law are upset with me. They feel like I am trying to bring them down by not clothes like I did for other people before. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. You no longer do that, and even if that reason was just I don't want to, rather than a perfectly valid and understandable emotional reaction, you may never feel that you can do those items again, and that's absolutely fine. If you were making them still for other people I think it would be a little off not to make them for her. You could charge her as you did other people, but you aren't making them for other people. I'm so sorry for your loss. You will never go back to the same person you were before. Grace is still your daughter, you are still her mother, and motherhood does change you. Bereavement also changes you. Being a bereaved parent is the hardest thing anyone can do through, and while you may have already, reached a new normal. They are being insensitive idiot. They don't get to dictate how you feel, and when you move on. You went through something incredibly traumatic and tragic. If anyone should understand and have sympathy for you it's your family. But obviously, that's too much to ask from them. Next time they ask I would go nuclear on them. You need to get your husband involved. Immediately. He needs to get a handle on his idiot family. I am so sorry for your loss. Do not let them dictate your feelings. Good luck to you. If you loved me, you'd do this for me. Screw that. I hate people who pull that line out as a last resort. They know they're asking for something they have no right to, but they use that emotional jab as leverage to get their way. She's in pure selfish mode and not caring a whit about the fact that what she's asking is emotionally painful for you. Stand your ground. You'll know when you're ever ready to start making things again, and if you're so inclined, you can make her something then. Or not. It's all up to you. I'm so sorry for your loss, and you are most definitely not the idiot.